Yeah. She wants to spend some money with me.
Welcome to the JP and Carl podcast with your host Carl.
It's JP.
And today we got a special guest, my brother from another mother, the gut adjuster himself.
Oh my God.
What did you just say?
The H master, the Ray Floyd, Harley.
What up?
Harley's our esteemed guest today because I believe he's somebody who can really speak to this subject. I know that me and you, we had a couple conversations when it's come to masculinity, femininity, social roles, and identity. So I think Harley will add a lot of perspective from a lot of males out there. Harley will speak for the men who are too beta to come out and speak for themselves. And we got the alpha male right here, H.
We're all alpha males.
Oh yeah, definitely I'm alpha male. That goes without saying. but before we start the week, before we start the episode, just tell me how y'all weeks were, how y'all chilling, how's everything, man?
Everything is cool, bro. Honestly, I can't really. I'm a simple guy. I don't ask for much. As long as I have a nice, safe work week, God bless.
That's the cool guy answer. How about you, JP?
Man, I'm gonna just say work was rough.
Rough week.
It was rough this week. There's a lot of stuff going on that doesn't, stuff that doesn't have to happen, but happens because you work with people that.
That was it. And we're in the same field too. Working with
right?
Yeah. So we get it. Yeah. I get it. It goes out.
That's what I'm saying. As long as it's a safe week, I don't ask for much, bro.
It wasn't a safe week for me. That's all. That's all I'm saying. It was rough. How about you, Carl?
I'd say my week was pretty solid at work. I guess that's all we do now. We just work and work out. I think us three, we literally just do this. Us three just.
I feel like my parents, bro.
Like literally, right?
Legit.
I understand when you are at a point where when you work, you make your money, you work out, and you come home and you just relax.
You just want peace.
And you have peace, and you're okay with that. And that's a great week. I think that's adulting in of itself.
Nah, facts. Like there was this thing where my pops used to do like every day. Actually, our dads are work in the same field too, bro. What my dad would do whenever he'd come home from work, he would just chill in his car for like a minute before going in.
Yo, I find myself doing that all the time. And I don't know what it is. It's just like a piece for like 20. I've been there for 20 minutes, just sitting in my car.
Just chill, like you just gotta like
you just unwind in your car and then you go in, because sometimes like you might go into the house, and for me and Carl, like we might go into some drama because we got significant others in there.
Yep.
So you never know. So we need that peace just in case before we go in there. Like it might be something.
And for me, it's not even like I'm listening to anything. I'm like on my phone. I'm just sitting in stillness, like.
Yeah, right. At one time, you probably thought your dad was bugging.
But
now you really understand.
We can cuss, right?
I mean,
I used to like, what's he doing, bro? Like,
no, honestly, I used to see my dad do the same thing because I would look through the window. I'd be like, he's parked out there for like 20 minutes now. What is he doing?
Because he's inhaling before he walks into the storm of complaining and things to fix before he starts. Right after coming from work, and I thought being a real man, it's tough. It really is tough. It's a thankless job.
I seen somebody post something. It was like, just because that man carries what he's going through so well doesn't mean it's not hard. Mm-hmm. And people don't get that. Like, we don't show when we're stressed out.
Oh, not at all.
Men are here to suffer, bro. That is why we are here. Bro.
That's what it seems like, for sure. It's crazy.
Bro, I 100% feel that because I feel like as a man, and we're going to get into this anyways, as a male, I just have this automatic responsibility, and I see this from my pops, of course, like the number one male in my life, He has a responsibility to kind of quell everything that's going on in the household. So if he comes in stressed out, angry, bitter, etc., then that kind of sets the mood for his wife, his tone for his wife, how the whole household's going to function.
Yep.
So I think it's very key that I think my father definitely, as he got older, understood that sometimes even though you're going to walk into a situation where it's going to be very chaotic and very hectic, it's better that I come in with a cool demeanor before my wife and my kids so that everybody can know that I got this. Even though inside I'm probably shaking to my core, I got this, I'm here, everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah, everything's going to be okay, yep. Yeah, just coming in with that calmness really settles the situation, even though it might be, as you said, like, a crazy situation. You can't even fathom how to go about it.
And that's the thing, like, it probably feels like the weight of the, but I don't have a family yet, so I don't
couldn't even imagine though.
Like, you know, like it probably feels like the weight of the world's on your shoulders.
Yeah, imagine you got three or two other people depending on you,
right,
constantly for everything.
No, that's a fact.
Yeah, the emotional burden that men take on in relationships, it's heavy. Not saying that women don't take on that toll, but I think it's underestimated how much men really, take when it comes to being in any type of dynamic, family or partner.
And how much we have to check our emotions too.
Oh yeah.
Just so we could be that figure.
Still learning.
We talked about that in one of the first episodes.
Still learning how to check
so many
my
times
emotions.
you want to just blow up, but it's just like it's not worth it, and that's it. Just to be relaxed.
Because sometimes your woman could be getting amped. And you want to get amped with her.
It's all over.
It's all over. So sometimes you gotta be, okay, I know she's getting amped. I feel her. I understand why she's like that, but I gotta be like, well, babe, let's look at it from this angle instead. I want to snap with her sometimes.
But it's so hard being that person all the time. Especially if you got somebody that you have to be that person all the time because they take the role of being the one on 100 constantly. Is like, man, I want to be on 100 today.
I used to be that petty guy. Like me, I was a very vengeful person, and
I was there with you.
I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. In my job, it forced me to be like a forgiving person. Like, and that's the thing. There's a lot of times where I really wanna meet them at that level, especially like when I was in my past relationship. But it's like, you know what I noticed though? When you're like just calm and cool and like you have everything together, that gets under the skin.
It pisses them off more.
I don't know why.
They want you to argue.
Like they want you to match the energy.
It's true. It is so true. And then there's some situations where we'll have an argument and I'll be the person on a 10, and then they can't handle that. When I'm on 100,
I feel you.
They like cower and they're like, they can't take it from the other end, but they want to give it.
Like I always tell my fiance, you want to start it, that's fine, but I'm gonna finish it. You can start it, but I'll finish it. I'll get it, and everyone will be pissed off, and that's fine. That's
and
fine.
then I'll go to sleep like nothing happened. That's how it is. That's what it is. That's it.
But ultimately, I'm glad y'all weeks were good. I feel like we had a little venting session. That's good though. That's good.
As men, we don't get it as it is. So.
This is our only opportunity at 5 minutes for the year to vent a little bit. And today is me and Cassandra's anniversary. We've been going.
Really?
Yeah.
Congrats.
Wow, congratulations.
That's why I'm not in the sweatpants today, because I want to take her out somewhere after. So.
How long has it been, if you don't mind?
No, it's been 2 years.
Oh,
2 years.
It's been 2 years. It's crazy because it feels way longer.
It feels
honestly.
longer, yeah. Even I only known you for a year or so now, but it feels like
we've been forever.
Yeah.
And you guys are the only people that say that too. My closest, my two best friends say that all the time. They feel like we've been together for like 5 years. It's only been 2 years.
Wow. I've been together with my girl technically longer than you.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about. Yeah, it just feels, I don't know why. I guess it's because you guys are engaged now, so you automatically put like a longer time behind it, but it's not even.
It magnifies it a little bit, yeah.
I'm out here single.
Man, he's looking.
He's living.
You know, ladies, I'm a pretty handsome guy. I got a beard.
Hey, don't do that. We over here struggling, bro. Chill.
I just got whiskers, man.
Yeah, we got the little.
I tried to grow a beard and it just was so patchy and uneven. It was just embarrassing. I felt like a beta when it's just patchy like that. But all right, I guess let's get on to it. So I think about 2 weeks ago I sent you guys a post about DJ Academics buying Selena Powell
Allegedly.
buying Selena Powell a truck, and he was getting
not any truck now. Don't diminish it. It was a G-Wagon.
Yeah.
That's like 2020 G-Wagon, not a 2018.
That's like 6 figures, bro. But do you guys know who Selena Powell is? Is she just like an IG model?
Alright, this is how I found out about her. The way I found out about Selena Powell was she was telling a story about pretty much giving top to 7
to like all the Mavericks
NBA players.
Right?
Phoenix Sun players.
Oh my lord!
Like she was giving top to all of them.
Yeah, that's the first time I like really heard of her before. Like I didn't know of her before that.
And to me, the first thought that went in my head was like, that's really some beta behavior because how you get excited with 7 other dudes in a room with one shorty? All right, but I digress. You know, everybody lives their life how they want to live it. How do you get? I don't understand how you get excited by that.
I don't know, bro. I was talking to my friend. I was talking to my friend Marvin about this. Like, yo, we have sometimes we have to call things what it is. Like, we have to go back to shaming, bro. And we must go back to shaming, bro.
I agree.
Like, you feel me, bro?
That's filthy, bro.
Yeah, filthy. I get what you're saying because they'll take that situation and still try to empower her.
She's
somehow.
empowering.
Like, what do you?
But we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
Everything is not a good thing. Like you can't try to swing everything in your favor.
And this is 7 NBA dudes
who can get any shorty they want on the planet.
Not only that, who are always on the road, who are always probably messing around with girls. Like
that is sound.
That's
bro.
mad unsanitary.
That's sound, bro. That's very sound. Sound means dirty in Creole. For people who don't know. Solid, bro. So I think D bought her the G-Wagon,
right?
And he was getting a lot of flack on social media. Of course, you know, haters. People were saying, "How can he buy?" Especially since he's been on the war against thoughts. DJ Academic is always the one that's saying, "Oh, F these thoughts. I don't know how you're gonna save these thoughts." But then when he bought, I guess, quote unquote, Queen Thought. You know, we're calling it what it is, Queen Thought, a G-Wagon, they kind of called him a hypocrite for it. And I think DJ Academics was, making a point in which it's not the fact that she's a thought or a status or whatever. You can call her a thought, but at the end of the day, she makes her own 6 figures. So him buying her that G-Wagon necessarily doesn't make him a simp because they're in the same tax bracket. That was kind of the summary.
That's kind of what I got from it too. But I still feel like he was trying to allude that he really probably didn't buy that for her. Mm-hmm. She probably bought that for herself. But it's always about the clout game. Mm-hmm. So like she's pushing his agenda.
Oh, of course.
He's pushing hers. So if she bought the car and then posts and says, "Oh, thanks, DJ Academics," it's just gonna start a whole conversation. That's why we're here talking about this stuff right now.
Oh, you're right.
She could have bought the truck for herself.
Wait, so.
He never asked. He never said that he bought the truck.
Girls being hoes.
He still does. He still does.
And he bought her
the G-Wagon.
We don't know that he actually bought the G-Wagon though.
Oh, okay. And people are calling him like a simp
simp
for that.
Yeah, he bought her a truck.
Oh, okay. I mean, maybe they're calling him a simp because he kind of, I guess, went against his values in a sense, and he went and bought this Dot who he trashes on.
Well, I guess women like her. I don't think her specifically, but women who she's probably done worse than like the girls he's talking about, like that he calls thoughts, and he bought her this G-Wagon. So I think it brought a lot of different topics. I took that conversation as entertainment, but then he brought a couple key interesting points in regards to masculinity and femininity in our culture, because if the roles were reversed, he was saying, if the roles were reversed, literally what he was saying was the woman would be actually more empowered, because even though a man does all these, quote unquote, scumbaggy things, if she were the one to buy him those things, then it would be empowering by her, because she got her own thing. She's doing her, she got things going on for herself, etc.
Right.
And what he was saying is as a male, it's funny, and then that kind of bridged into another conversation about the Birkin bag, conversation. And Saweetie was talking about how if a man isn't rich and isn't buying you a Birkin bag, I'm paraphrasing. I don't know specifically
Yeah,
word
I'll
for
put
word.
the clip in there.
She pretty much said that if a man isn't doing this, that, and the third for you, then you gotta leave him and pretty much get a man who can do those things for you.
Right.
Just paraphrasing what she's saying. And DJ Academics took notice on that and was pretty much saying like, he agrees to a certain extent because Sweetie's on a level or tax bracket in which like that should be her expectation almost.
Right.
She's six.
Okay, yeah, okay.
You get what I'm saying? She's a 6-figure woman.
I think the key point to that and what he was trying to say is that as long as your woman can reciprocate those things that you're buying for her, she can buy them for you, then it's fine. But if he's saying like for men that are just buying stuff for these women that can't ever give you anything.
There you go.
Then like what is it? Because Quavo can buy her whatever he wants. She can also go and buy him a truck or anything that he wanted. So it's like it's just gotta be you have to be on the same level. Maybe not exactly on the same level, but like in some way in the same bracket or close.
I get that.
He's definitely switched the situation in that direction, in which he was saying when he's calling these women in the Shade Room comments and on Twitter that are calling him a simp, when he's calling them a thought and he's calling those type of women, simps, it's because you're trying to ask a man to reciprocate acts of service through their pockets,
right?
In a manner in which you can't even do it.
Exactly, and that doesn't make sense.
And that was the point he was trying to make.
Yeah, because I guess they gave him a lot of heat prior about the Sweetie comments about the Birkin situation.
Yes.
And then when he went and he bought the truck for Selena Powell, now they're like saying, oh, he's not a simp. They weren't really saying he was a simp. Some of the women now, the men were more calling him a simp. But the women,
that's interesting,
were actually saying, oh, look, he bought her a truck. Now he's a
man that was doing that.
Now he's a god.
So the
women were fine with him buying the truck because women obviously don't care.
They were trashing him at first, though?
They were trashing him because he said he wouldn't buy any and everybody a Birkin bag because these women that want these Birkins, as we said, they can't reciprocate that energy. So that's the women he's talking about. He's not talking about celebrities that have money.
No, not at all.
So he said that. They trashed him. He said, oh, you're cheap, blah, 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 blah. You don't have no money. You're broke. He bought the truck for Selena Powell, allegedly, or whatever. And now the women are switching their story and saying, oh, DJ Academics is great, da, 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 da.
Wait, so
but the men are calling him a simp.
Was he trying to, like, prove a point by doing that?
The point he was trying... I don't think he was trying to prove a point. I think the conversation just happened on Twitter after she posted that, and then he, like most social media personalities, they play damage control. So he was getting on top of that and explaining why he's not a simp in that matter, because men were calling him a simp for buying her that G-Wagon, and he was explaining, I'm not a simp because at the end of the day, he can afford it and she can afford it.
Okay. Yeah.
He's calling those men simp because you out here making, set amount of money, buying women things that's well above your means, and she's not even
can't give it back.
She can't give it back, and she's probably not even claiming you, while she's getting all her sexual desires and needs from sex. So and that's what he's talking about. You get it? So I agreed with him. I thought he brought up some very interesting points, and I thought that as a man, I was like, yeah,
true.
I don't think that. And it makes me want to pose the question, do you guys feel as men, you guys are financially responsible for supporting a woman that you're with? Do you believe that's one of the major obligations, or is it something... it's multi-layered.
It is, because the way I was raised and the man that I see myself to be, I do want to be the person to... I will support you in a sense, but you're not just going to sit down and do nothing.
Okay.
If you get what I'm saying, like, if we're in a situation where I'm working and maybe you're studying, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking strictly, not to cut you off, are we talking like strictly financial support?
No, in this sense, I think, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Financial support. I mean, obviously, emotional support and that stuff comes into it in a relationship in general, hopefully.
But today we're talking more like the financial side of that.
I think, like, because I'm a man's man, so I would.
You just feel like that's
You
your
know,
role.
I
Which
don't
is,
know. I feel like, although in these times you shouldn't feel like that, I feel like, if a woman was, doing most of the financial, she was taking most of the financial burden, that would definitely take a shot at
my
ego.
Yeah.
So tell me, what is a man's man?
A hard worker, someone who endures, he doesn't really, he's not really emotional in a sense where he acts on his emotions. The typical 50s man, like the hard working man, like
headstrong.
yeah.
So you describe
your
hard
principles.
nose. Yeah.
So your definition of a male is somebody who takes the initial role of providing.
Right.
He's protecting.
Right.
He may not be nurturing from the emotional sense outwardly,
Right.
but he's someone who's going to nurture and protect his family from I'd say obstacles that can be seen or obstacles that are not ready yet presented.
Yeah, it's almost like a investment in a sense, because I noticed growing up, I used to struggle with math homework, and math was the only thing my dad wanted to check because math is very practical. You can go places with that.
Yeah.
And that was the only thing my dad wanted to check, and I used to get my ass whooped. It was unbelievable, bro. And my mom would always be that saving grace, and she would take me away. And so,
But the math part is interesting. Right? I'm gonna let you finish. The math part is interesting because I think math is how men are. Very practical, very
right.
to the point.
Math is one solution. It might be
direct. Right?
It's direct. With words, women are great with languages because they can switch stuff around all types of different ways.
Yeah,
it's great.
The mental gymnastics.
That's
why most of them are English teachers. Because they know how to change the narrative.
My girl can write papers. I can't write papers. I can do math. I can tell you that.
That's so. I don't know why. It's random. It came to my head. But it's very interesting because my pops loves math too.
Of course.
But I think a lot of men are good with numbers. Period. Right? Just love numbers. Period. And when you even see the professors and the teachers, a lot of the math teachers are males. I think it says a lot into our perspective and our personalities as men. Well, men of men. It says that we are very direct and very to the point.
Right.
Just like you just described your pops, pretty much very direct, he sees it very practical.
Right. And it makes sense.
And I believe in men today, that's exactly what's missing. The practical approach to things isn't always a popular approach, which is why you have a lot of sprinkled mental gymnastics around different perspectives and as our society and roles are.
We don't want to call what's right and what's wrong.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
Yeah. But continue, my bad, y'all. I know we kind of segued,
but my dad being that hard on me, that was initially that's an investment. You're investing in your kid, bro.
Yeah.
Because when I going back to really think about it, my dad, he was the one that put me in music. He put me in sports. He put me in, he always made sure, he always wanted to check my homework. And I know my mom, I could get away with that.
Mm-hmm.
My mom didn't really care, only if I wanted to. But my dad, he made sure, he made sure I was in something. You know what I mean? And that made me think about it. I'm like, I think my dad was more invested in me than my mom.
I wouldn't say that, but I do see where you're saying in terms of being a man and seeing that it's always a vision. You're always vision a future for your family,
right.
whoever you're around. So they put that time in, their kids or even their spouses, just to make sure that there's always something set up for down the road.
Right.
And that's a part of being a man, making sure that your family is set for generations to come. Because then he instilled that in you, so you have a hard work ethic. You make sure you get your stuff done, so that would kind of
build a good
mold
foundation.
you to who you're gonna be. And then you'll be set up for yourself, because then you could provide for yourself.
I believe that it's very interesting how, because I've known you for a long time, I know the way we used to talk about our dads.
Right.
the way we used to talk about our dads maybe 10, 15 years ago is way different than how I perceive him when I talk about him now. Right. My dad was aggy growing up, just purely didn't understand why he's doing all this. Just everything you describe with your pops is literally my dad. That's why they're best friends. They work together, the same job. Oh, wow. And it's so funny, bro. It's actually insane. And the way they go about it is like so similar. It's like, oh my God. That's why he's practically my brother. But it's like, the way I see it, the way we perceived our pops growing up was like, why are they doing this? What is the purpose of this? As you get older and you start to be in a more independent role in dealing with things on your own, I find myself literally even talking the same way as my dad when it comes to important situations or scenarios that I have to deal with. Or I'm tackling, I literally will, in the back of my head, it's like, how would my father approach this situation? And it's because of the way they took their time and kind of showed you. Maybe you're not building things and doing random activities like my pop is doing, but the mentality on how to approach situations in life, it comes from my pops, honestly. It doesn't come from my mom. My mom had her role. And I want to speak here for the women too, in a sense. Moms have a very special role in raising men too.
Women, they're just nurturing.
They're nurturing. We need that.
Yeah, of course.
We need that place where we need to feel safe, where our feelings can be nurtured and be heard and understood, because that practical approach that men have isn't always conducive to a healthy
emotional state.
There you go. You took the words right out of my mouth. A healthy emotional state. And that's why the importance of having both parents, which is lost on today's society for the most part, is very important. But to go back to the whole overarching point of this, my pops, and him instructing the way for me to walk about, approach situations, even how to dress, be clean, things of that nature, I needed to receive that instruction and then go out into the world and understand why those things were happening. In return, I got a deeper appreciation for my pops as I'm becoming a man and trying to pursue my own family. And I think those things are lost. When you're an early teenager, your mom is team mom. Like, mom is gonna let you do whatever. Mom is nurturing. Mom cares about what outfits you're putting on. Mom cares about your feelings. Mom cares about taking you out here. Your mom is like,
care about none of that stuff.
No, your dad don't care about none of that.
You got your homework done?
There you go. My dad is
you
like,
did your chores.
You got your homework done. College applications coming soon. Did you even think about that yet? Your car, you're gonna have to learn how to get yourself places.
I'll never forget. I was saying, what will y'all consider high school here? We call it primary school. So we're going into, and I'll be going into your high school technically. Yeah. And we have in the Caribbean, we do like an examination, because we have like top schools and then there's like other schools. And I was like one of the tops. I was like pretty much the top student in my class at that time. I had a small class, but it was just like we were doing like test papers, like practice papers, like math and English and like composition and stuff like that. And I was doing like a math paper one time. I'm like, I wasn't in the mood to do it. And my dad sat down at the table. He was like, bro, you're gonna do this. And I think I did. I was just making stupid mistakes, like simple, stupid math mistakes. My dad had a ring. My dad had a ring. I know we're gonna probably get into this. Like, this is abuse in America, but in the Caribbean, this is normal.
Bro,
my dad had a ring, and he had it on this is a big ring, man. And when I tell you that he just took his hand and backslapped me across my face, I was all set after that. 'Cause my dad was not the type of person to even hit me either. So I know that when he did, or if he had to, then I was really messing up.
You know what it was? You know what? It wasn't the fact you were messing up. It was your temperament.
Yeah,
it was your temperament and doing it. He can see it.
You think so?
He was like, this kid.
You think that's why they hit you? Because I used to get hit.
No, my mom, she used to hit me for no reason.
I used to get hit because I got the problem wrong. I would do the problem wrong.
I'm telling you, listen. I had to analyze it. It's not necessarily because you got it wrong. There's a lot of factors that go into it, but it's the fact that your temperament when you're doing it, if you're not taking your time, maybe, or maybe if he's already been there for 5 hours teaching you the same thing over and over again, and you're starting to get like,
that's what it was,
acting like he needs to be there, and you're like,
he's seen that, and he was like, listen.
That's what I realized early. That's what got my dad even more.
Yeah.
angry.
So your dad was probably a bit more patient.
Oh yeah, my dad's way more patient.
My dad,
more than
so
should be.
I had a different dynamic. My dad would only like put hands on me like in really serious situations. Like my mom, she used to beat me in my opinion frivolously like for nothing sometimes.
Your mom used to beat you?
Yeah. So, but what my dad did, I understood like, okay, I'm really doing something wrong. Like I'm messing up for real here. Like this is something that, and it was a really important time in my life because that kind of set the tone. Because I did get into, I was a top student at that school. I got into like the top school in Barbados or whatever. So I seen at that time, like when he did that, it was important. Okay. And I felt like if he had to really discipline me, it was always on like very important factors that were gonna
important to him.
I think important to me now that I look back on it too.
Okay.
As you were saying, like we don't see it now, but we see the importance of like how they acted and what they did for us then, but now we see it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like an investment, bro.
That's right. I think you hit it on the nail. I don't think too many alpha males will disagree with what you said.
No, exactly. I feel like me, I know I'm gonna be like, if I have a son, God willing, I know I'm gonna be tough on my son.
Oh,
but
same.
But what I am gonna do better is I'm definitely gonna communicate better than how my dad.
I can agree with that,
and that's where our parents probably.
I think being from a different country, I believe they've embodied the male aspect of being a male. Where I'm not gonna show emotion. This is what it's gonna be, and that's that. Right. That practical approach to things. It has its pros and it definitely has its cons because it made me feel at one time I was scared of my dad. I was scared to displease my dad in a sense where I wasn't scared of getting hit or anything. It was more scared of I really don't want to disappoint him. And even if I'm not getting something, I'd rather take the time to get it on my own before communicating with him to get that.
You see, and that's funny that you say that. You was afraid to disappoint your dad.
I really was.
I was just me. I had the fear instilled in me where I seen this dude as my enemy, bro. Oh, and I wanted to do like rebellious shit. I'd like, I had respect fear for him.
No, same here.
I had respect.
And I get what you're saying too. Because it goes two routes. Yeah, it really can go two routes. You either have that fear of disappointment or you're going to have that fear of rebellion.
Dislike, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or you're going to have that disappointment.
For me, my dad had that with his dad. So although he was hard on me, he tried not to instill that in me in terms of how I felt about him. Right. So I feared him in respect, but I didn't really rebel against him because it was never that serious for me between me and him because we still had like really good moments even though he was really harsh on me or whatever. So I think it's hard to, talking about parents from another country and fathers, you got to think about how they were treated too. Exactly. It's a cycle. It's always a cycle. Yeah. Exactly. If they choose and if they're able to kind of break away from what they were subjected to when they were growing up and kind of tweak it a little bit better for you, then that's great. But sometimes it doesn't translate that well.
And Caribbean parents they're usually not that malleable. Like,
yeah, it is.
I know, because they're coming from a place where everybody's like them, the mentality's the same, like the culture's the same. So, and they come here and then they see their kids growing up in America and taking on American culture, that scares the shit out of them.
Yeah, they're like, nah, no way.
But actually, I mean, put yourself in their shoes. Imagine you came here, you go to France or you go to Brazil, wherever, and your kids are growing up in a culture that you don't even identify with.
Right.
So that's going to automatically instill fear. You're going to be very cautious on how you raise your kids, especially in an environment in which, as you see now, especially with Gen Z, it's a very free and everything goes type society, So definitely, I know us. When we God willing, if we had kids, I know we're gonna have to definitely be very mindful of more mindful than our parents ever were, on how we navigate the terrain of these. Everything's accepted. And everything's free, and everything is
PSA,
about your feelings.
Okay.
Everything's about your feelings, and nothing's practical anymore. It's just like if you feel this way, this is what it is, and that's gonna be something that's gonna be a great challenge raising children in the next 10, 15 years for us. Definitely
tough for us.
And that's why you gotta always give your parent. No matter how pissed off you're at your parents or how annoyed you are with them, you always gotta give them that because they had the patience to deal with you. So,
And honestly, I feel like I just made it out. Like,
Mhm.
you feel me? Like,
no, for real. I remember everything like it was yesterday.
I feel like I just made it out, especially like the way like a lot of kids are acting now. I feel like I feel like it was like an action movie. Like, ran out the building and the building exploded, bro.
But guys, how do you feel about, in a sense, so if you weren't making enough money per se to support your lady, does that make you less of a man? Because we described a lot about masculinity as it pertains to providing and being the man of men, a man's man. But what if you don't have that financially? That you don't have
now,
that
let me ask
money?
you a question. What would that entail in terms of?
Okay.
Are you perhaps going after a woman that is already financially stable herself, and then I think you got to meet them either at level or be a little higher in terms of that aspect, because it's hard, man. It's a hard question, because I don't want to say that, because women also, as they're nurturing, they have the ability to nurture a man that isn't where he needs to be at that point, but they can see sometimes
too much to a degree
where they can go. But I feel now like women of this generation, or what they continuously see on social media, is that they're not willing to put that time in. They want a man that's already there. And I don't blame them in a sense, because you don't want to have to come into a relationship and work on someone. But there has to be that vision, because you have to have that vision with that person to see what can be for you two, as well as not always thinking about, I want this man to have 6 figures, he got a Rolex, he got the Range Rover now. That's not practical. It's not always going to be, because there's not that many men that are doing that. So where you find these, are you going to wait until you find this person and be 50, or you going to invest in someone that's actually in a good place right now, stable, and is going somewhere?
So there's no issue with that. The only issue I seem to ever have with that is when it's even when you're going into the beginning of a relationship. How you found that person is how you found that person. If they continue to grow from there, then that's a great thing. But the expectation of them growing from there, you should not put that in your mind. Because the way that they are, in a sense, is how you found them, and you can't complain about that.
That's
and
fair.
vice versa.
You can't put your expectations.
You can't. There you go. You can't put your expectations on other people, male or female.
I don't know, because for me personally, I always want to, if I'm with anyone that I'm around, for you, friends, significant others, especially because of who I associate with, like you, my other friends, like they're always excelling, they're trying to do something. So I kind of have that expectation, and maybe it's bad for myself and for whoever I'm around. I'm always pushing whoever I'm with or around to do better.
And I don't disagree with that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. I don't disagree with that. I believe the reason how you weed out friends as you get older is that ability to want to grow as a human being. Right. And sometimes you don't even think about who left your life. You just naturally in such a different place and that's kind of how a lot of relationship dynamics in general evolve, and people separate from each other. Right. Because you find that some people are going in this direction, growing here, and that person is staying stagnant or is probably going the other direction. And naturally, without a fight or anything happening,
something clicks and you're like, it's not working.
It's not working anymore. And to your point, I think a lot of women, they take that aspect. They say, I see the potential in that, and they want to go. And a lot of men, I would call those men simps sometimes. They want to see that and say, I'm going to go. I think they have the potential based on my expectations to go here, 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 and here. But in reality, her mind isn't, or his mind isn't in that place. And you can't be angry at nobody but yourself if they don't reach the expectations that you set.
So after saying that, so do you think that it's fair for women to just go after men that are already in the spot where they want to be?
I feel like that's what women have been doing since the beginning of time, though. It's like, it's usually like back in the day, it was usually the man that would take the woman out her house.
Right, yeah.
He would marry her, and he would be the one working, and she would be the one tending to the kids. I feel like,
so that's a tricky situation now.
I feel like now it's just evolved where women are empowered, so they kind of, for some reason, they want to be like men because they don't see value in, being a woman for some reason.
I believe, I don't disagree with you because that's another part of the conversation we're definitely going to go into. So I believe the reason why women don't see value in men is because women are taking the more dominant role in being the head of things in our society.
I said women don't see value in being like women anymore.
I see what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
I see what you're saying. And
like what we would consider practical things for a woman nowadays, now they don't care about any of that stuff. Like as you said, and this is something that I keep saying, women want a man to provide. Right? They want to stay at home. They want him to buy everything and do everything. They also want to work, and sometimes some women they want him to provide. Both people are working in a situation, so she's pocketing all of her money, but he's buying everything for you, paying for the house. But where are we going? Because if I'm buying everything, paying for everything, I probably am not saving as much as I can for our longevity in terms of future. But you're saving so that if anything happens, you can break away and do your own thing. Yeah. And they're not. So in a sense, where back in the day, men were providing and paying for everything, they were relaxing because at that time, obviously, women were working and they couldn't work as much. They were raising the kids, they were cooking.
So it's kind of like women
that.
were really dependent on a male.
Yes,
doing those
in
things.
a sense, but that's okay. I understand that dynamic because you couldn't work or there wasn't as many opportunities for you. But now that you want to work, but you still want me to provide, but you're not putting anything towards our future.
I see what you're saying.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
I see what you're saying. Right. And I believe a lot of women do that these days.
It seems shiesty.
It's selfish, like, because you don't want to, because then when you say, oh, men of our generation, like alpha males, like we want a woman that can cook or to raise our kids, then it's like a tricky thing where, no, we don't do that nowadays, or we don't have to cook. So then, if I'm paying for everything, you're sitting on your ass, what are you doing? You don't want to raise my kids. You don't want to cook nothing for me when I get home, but I'm paying for you to sit on your ass. I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
That don't make no sense.
I believe that it's all about contribution and what your roles are. So, to your point, I believe if a male's role in the dynamic is to provide, in sense financially, he's fixing things when things are going awry. He's saving money for the both of you guys. I think at the very least, especially maybe if she's not working or maybe not working as hard or isn't working, period.
I'm not saying women that are they're working also a 9-to-5 job and they got to come home and cook. That's not what I'm saying. Because I feel like that kind of stuff we can compromise on. Yeah, we cook. I cook one night, you cook one night. But for the women that they just want to provide. They don't want men to provide and they don't do anything. I don't understand.
I think
then what are you doing? What are you bringing to the relationship?
We're definitely in a time where women are empowered to be more independent, and that independence means they can do their 9-to-5 on their own. Then they have the extracurricular activities on top of that. They expect their men to be more involved in the nurturing aspect of things too, as well. They feel like they don't only have to intake the nurturing roles, but they want to intake the practical roles as well.
And that's fine.
And I think most men, alpha men, don't have a problem with that.
They don't.
But I think their definition of how they want it to be is different from how they actually allow it to be. So it becomes a thing where they want to intake traits and characteristics of a male's role, but in reality, they really don't want to do all the things that it pertains to being a male. They want the pretty glittery things, such as providing the money, saying, "Oh, he can cook these days and I can cook on these days."
They want to delegate.
They can delegate,
but when you delegate for them to do something, they don't want to do it. I don't understand that.
Convenient for
Right.
It's all about convenience. It really is. But when it comes down to, let's do the male roles, right? When it's time to change the tire in the middle of the snowstorm, this is something that I don't want to do. You understand?
That's where like the equality of women, like they pick and choose. Like, okay, we want to make more money or be on the same level.
Ladies, can your man change your tire, by the way?
I can't. I don't know about y'all.
Mine can't.
I can.
Not sure
you can't change the tire.
I can change the tire.
Oh,
whoa.
Okay.
No.
Talking about men in general.
Can you? Yeah, ladies, can your man change the tire?
Half these betas can't.
Their steering wheel will be stiff and they won't even know what's wrong with it. They're like, oh my goodness, I need to go to see a mechanic. Come on, bro. There's no social media and Xbox, bro. These kids don't know how to do nothing, bro.
Yeah, but I think that's a really important topic to talk about, just because I want women to really take these unrealistic expectations out of their heads, please, because it's not getting you anywhere. Because I've seen situations with with women that I know, and they're constantly chasing after this ideal fantasy of a man that's gonna have everything, but they're playing off another person that could be that man for them, and then eventually that's who they go to, because they see now the potential in that person and where they can go, as opposed to just chasing this idea of this man as making $1 million already,
and even when
it's gonna come pay and buy you Birkins when you're not making any money. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Do they even look at potential anymore?
I don't think they do.
No, they don't. Women don't look up. I'm not a woman, so I can't speak for that. And maybe the ladies,
when they speak about it,
they can speak about it. But from my male biased perspective, I don't.
Let's not trash all women, because they're definitely not.
When we say all women, I'm speaking for in general. Not all women, of course. There's always outliers to every demographic of people. But I want to say it's not about. And this is my perspective. I think seeing potential is a waste of time, and this is why, male or female, I can see something going for you. Is that really potential, or is that just the track of where you're gonna go?
Okay, I get
you're gonna get there. Practically speaking, you're gonna get there. If my shorty isn't working, but she's in a master's program, that's not really.
That's not potential.
That's not potential. That's practicality.
She's gonna be there. She's gonna.
You know, if my shorty, if I found her living off the land, like just doing whatever she wants, but going to the mall with her money, doesn't do these things of that nature, I can't have the expectation that she's gonna have the potential to be able to learn how to save money because I'm with her all of a sudden.
I kind of get what you're saying, but at the same time, I think what you're saying, like in terms of like the example of her being in a master's program, that is still considered potential in a way. Because that person that you described in the latter situation, they have no potential. It don't matter who comes in their life.
But potential is, right? But potential is, you see something in someone that you know they're gonna grow and eventually become, right?
I can't see nothing in anyone as a bum. That don't make sense.
I thought potential is where someone can go.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought that's what potential was.
So, and that's what I'm saying. When the reason I don't believe in potential. Okay, I guess maybe I do in a sense believe in the strict definition of potential. What I am saying is, I don't believe in fairy tales. And the reason I don't believe in fairy, and that's what people are not looking for potential. People are looking for fairy tales. That's the word.
The fantasy.
Fantasies. People are seeking fantasies, and the reason why I see people are seeking fantasies is because they expect that, like you guys already said, they expect this male or woman to be a certain way when that's just not what they ever were. There's nothing. There's no characteristic that shows you that they were ever going to be there.
It's a delusion.
It's a delusion. It really is.
It's a facade.
Believing in somebody's potential. Okay, I want to backtrack and say I think that is something that definitely more people should look at. And I think if you're with somebody, you're not even with them because of what they are right now. You're what you guys potentially can be, and potentially you see that person growing more and more as individuals and as a unit.
Because I feel like when you're going on dates with people, you're
analyzing them.
You're checking their credentials, and I feel like that's looking for potential.
I think looking at the credentials leading up into seeing if they could potentially be something. So in a sense, we're saying the same thing. She has a list of credentials, right? And you see that these credentials are not going to fulfill the potential that it's really about you, honestly. It's really not going to be a potential that she's going to fit with you in it, right? And you can assess and say that, okay, this girl, in my eyes, doesn't have potential per se. Not to say she doesn't have personal potential to accomplish what she wants to do, but she doesn't have potential as it pertains to you two being a couple.
Being conducive.
Being conducive to being a couple. And I think a lot of people, and this is why I say it's very dangerous to say, oh, I think this is how people get, especially when you're younger, this is how you get trapped into things. Yeah, she has the potential to be a wife, right? Wifey potential, right? That's a phrase you used to always say. But what does that mean? Because she can make you a sandwich and she can fucking good. That's how generic it's become, though. That's the potential for her to be a wife. Because she make you feel good?
And it shouldn't be. It's more about the characteristics of that person as in a whole, because then you're looking at being a mother, being a good partner for the future.
And how do you assess that? That varies by person.
It varies by person, but there are just certain characteristics that you have to have as a person that you can see those being able to fill those roles. Because if you don't have those, like being a nurturing person, if you're not nurturing, you can't be nobody's mother.
No, you can't.
That's one point blank. That's a thing that you can't be.
You can't. No, you can't.
So, I mean, it's very important, as you said, like when you're trying to find that person, that you're checking those credentials and seeing the potential in whatever at the end of the day, when you go into anything, you are looking for your happiness. So whatever's going to make that person be the person for you is whatever you put on them, in a sense. Like, you have to be happy with what they're going to become. Because then it don't make sense. If you go into it, just letting them be happy in their right and being great, it might not work out.
So happiness isn't always practical, right?
Of course not. Of course not.
What?
Right.
Especially as a man? What?
Right.
Let's give it a stag. No, not at all. You will find yourself at times as a male, you gotta sacrifice your happiness so everyone else can be happy, and that in return grants you your happiness.
Yeah, I get majority of my happiness
it
from
should bring
seeing
you
people around me
happiness
happy.
or bitterness if you're a hater.
Yeah.
Funny, but as I said, I get more of my happiness from seeing people happy. Even if I take an L or
That's
in
facts.
some way it might hinder me in a sense, I prefer to see you happy, and that kind of gives
JP,
me.
because you're an alpha, because you know you can take it. At the end of the day, you rather take the L than see the person you love take the L, because you know you can take it mentally than that person. That's a man, bro. That really is a man. And that's why a lot of these guys these days, I view them as big betas, bro. Like huge betas, because they're in such fear of in taking something head on, at the fact that it can compromise themselves emotionally or mentally or physically, to the point where it enables them to even make a connection with any type of woman.
Right.
And that's, to me, a beta. I don't care if you have trust issues, all this other stuff, bro. That's beta behavior to me anyways, when I hear that stuff. and it's not to say you're not entitled to have those feelings, but to let those feelings control you, that's the definition of a beta, bro.
Like, I feel like, especially with like trust issues, I feel like it's, for me, I would never have a trust issue like going from one girlfriend to another. Like, I'll definitely take things and I learn from them.
Of course.
I'm not gonna have, because it just doesn't make sense to not trust the next person.
You're punishing the next person.
And you're punishing yourself,
Yes.
honestly. So
Yeah, because you might be sacrificing something that's real because you're bringing something from another relationship that might not even pertain to that person. That just wouldn't make sense.
So, speaking of alphas and betas, we live in an age where, as we've kind of dived in it a little bit, women are empowered. Women are in a place where they're celebrated for doing the smallest of male masculine things. It's not masculine anymore, it's whatever they want to call it. For example, I can go and take leadership in a position or role like job in society anywhere. Oh, you're a toxic man for that. Oh, why you mansplaining? Am I lying? Am I lying? Am I forcing it? If as a male I take that initiative, I can be called toxic, or if I try to explain my position, that's mansplaining. But if, for example, a man like Lil Nas X dresses like a woman,
oh my god, when you sent me that picture, bro,
he's empowering. He's progressive. He's moving things forward as a male. Even, and I'm kind of posing maybe 2 or 3 questions into one. Even Selena Powell, men now are saying, I feel empowered when I date my woman who's a stripper or a prostitute or a sex worker of any sort, and she's empowered because she can do whatever she wants with her body, and she's making us money, and this, that, and nature. I'm sure you fellas know how I feel about that. But you guys tell me how you guys feel about that. What do you guys think? If your shorty came up to you guys today and said, I mean, gay, so there's no way that would happen in the universe. But if your shorty came up to you and said, you know what, JP, you know, Harvey, I'm gonna go on OnlyFans and I'm gonna throw a pussy for $50
a month.
A month.
Per person.
Subscription.
You gotta get out of there.
I'm gonna be like, that's valid. That's a valid point. I mean, you can make some money, but you're not gonna do that shit in my house. You can take that somewhere else, but either you moving or I'm moving because we're not doing it.
Bro,
and that's it.
I wouldn't even want my lady taking promiscuous pictures on Instagram. Like, my thing is, you could, like, what a lot of women nowadays like fail to realize, you can look sexy and classy at the same time.
Clothes.
You don't in clothes, yeah. You don't.
I'm not saying that you can't take a bikini pic here and there. If you're at the
Because
beach,
context matters.
Because it matters.
Context matters. But don't tell me you're taking a thong pic in your bedroom, like posing.
For what? Are you unless you're selling this thong? Are you being paid to promote this stuff?
You know what the
then
thing is,
come
bro?
on.
What most women like.
But it's empowering.
Because
It's
if I,
empowering.
as a man, and we're in a relationship, and I go and I take my shirt off, and I take pictures in the gym or something, they're gonna be tight. Or if I wear a fucking gray sweatpants and my imprint is all over the fucking internet, then they'd be tight.
Bro, what they fail to realize is when they're doing stuff like that, like taking pictures of like themselves, you know, flaunting their bodies and shit, that only attracts men that want to fuck them. Men are never looking at them like, oh, we want to wife you, and it never will.
I don't know how they don't see that. I don't see how they don't.
Like, and it's disrespectful to me, bro. I personally don't want my
thing,
boys looking at you in that way.
And that's the thing. They try to confuse insecurity with respect. It's like, nah, it has nothing to do with insecurity.
Explain that. Explain that concept.
Because they're gonna say shit like, why can't I show my body? I feel good about how I look. And they're gonna try to throw it on you and say
you're insecure.
You're insecure.
Yeah.
When that's not the case. There's just a certain
just a
standard
boundary.
you hold yourself.
But in this society, you know that doesn't exist.
Yeah, bro.
It's free. It's empowering,
bro.
It's empowering.
It's stupid. It's dumb as hell to me, bro. That's why like, it's taking me a minute to find a girl, bro. It's taking me a minute, bro.
Because I think you've learned that what she is before the relationship is what she's going to be during. And I think a lot of men, a lot of boys, they don't understand that. And that's why they get into all these troubles and all these headaches when they're in a
And
relationship.
it comes back to what you said before, because sometimes you don't see that in the initial, and it takes a lot as a man to just be like, you know what, there might not be potential for her to change. And you just gotta step back from that. If that's who she is, and you didn't notice it at first, but now you're seeing that she's doing all these suspect things, and you're like, you know what? You can't compromise your values for her to be empowered.
Because she's not gonna.
Because that sounds stupid.
Because that's her value.
Exactly.
So if she's not gonna compromise her value, why should you compromise your value?
doesn't match,
That makes no sense. Her value is, and I'm not judging nobody. Her value is she wants to throw her titties and her ass all over Instagram. That's you. That's what you want to do. I don't believe in that. So automatically we're not.
And it doesn't make me insecure. It doesn't make you insecure. That's just who you want to be. This is who I am. So if you're gonna do that, then we're not gonna be.
And I hold both genders culpable for this, because men, you see a girl on Instagram, she was already doing that before you dated her. You date her and you say, I want her to change this. No, bro. Take your L, because that's how she was before. You can't enforce somebody to change, just like you don't want them to enforce you to change. That makes no sense. So men, take your L right there. If she is like that and you're gonna be insecure about that, like there's some guys who's cool with it. Bet there's never gonna be an argument.
It's not even that thing. No, some guys they just get caught up in the moment.
Bro, that's true. That's true.
That's what I said. But it's okay to be like, okay, and step away from it, because it
stop thinking with the blood rushing down there and think with your head, man. Like, and I see a lot of young cats doing this because it's not your fault, man. You're 20, you're 21. You see a shorty, she's bad.
Everybody is doing.
Everybody's doing. You're like, yes, this is what women And like my mom, and like she's prude, she's old school, she wouldn't understand this, that, and the third. But when you get older, you understand why your pop's married a woman like your mom, because
any woman that comes to me and tells me that being on OnlyFans is like a good, not saying a good thing or empowering or whatever. I can't take you seriously. Get the hell out of my face.
You know what's
I don't want to hear about you because you don't have any values. There's no way you have values.
You know what's mad funny about that? I took this girl out on a date, and she wasn't doing that stuff. Literally the next day, for some reason, we stopped texting, and then she had her own OnlyFans account.
Whoa. Okay.
I was like, holy fuck! I was like, I dodged the bullet.
That's crazy. But yeah, I because I've been in this conversation with other females around, and I hear their perspective on it, and I'm just like, where's your mother? Because I know she don't agree with this. So where are you getting this from? Like, what are you talking about?
Sometimes it's these young girls having little girls that grow up into that, and they support that. I know in my lovely town of the Brockton community, it's very like that. You have young moms having young kids, and they act the same way when they were young.
35.
I've seen grandmothers out, like 35, 40. I've seen that. So, I mean, it's a thing where
I don't know.
It's not surprising where some of this behavior comes from. It comes from, some of it is daddy issues. I've seen it all, especially from daddy issues to this is how your mom is, to you're usually influenced by your cousins or your sister, your older sibling, to your friends that you're around. A lot of factors and a variety of factors goes into that form of thinking. And we always have to be respectful to everybody grows up differently and everybody has, therefore, a different form of values. But I think there was at one point in American society and most of our society around the world a concrete level of class and morality that is lost.
It comes back to the whole notion of this social media and perpetuating this lifestyle, because now women feel like they have to do whatever they gotta do to get this money. And right now, OnlyFans is where people are making money. So they're like, I'm gonna compromise myself or my values just to make this money. But they're not understanding that making all that money that these people are making is not the only way to be happy. It doesn't define happiness.
No, it doesn't.
Because you can go bust it on OnlyFans, make $1 million and be miserable.
Because who are you doing it for? Are you making this $1 million for you?
Miserable.
Because who are you doing it for? Are you making this $1 million for you per se, or are you doing it for the crowd?
It's all about, I gotta get this bag. But do it in a way where you're not compromising yourself.
Because remember,
who pay for OnlyFans is me.
Bro, there's Pornhub. Like, how are you paying for OnlyFans? Like, you wanna do whatever you gotta do. Like, you're crazy. You're crazy. You're paying for OnlyFans.
They want real females.
Come on, man.
So, we're getting into the final portion of our conversation. So that's a no from both of you fellas. That's a hell no for me. A hell no. For Cassandra, that just seem that just gives you the idea of food in your head. Hell no. that being said, and my girl would never even think to do with that. But pushing the conversation further, we're getting to the last part of it. Fellas, do you believe that women have a crucial role in molding the modern male, in a sense where women are now defining what masculinity is?
100%.
Absolutely.
I think so.
Absolutely.
Because the men that I see coming up now,
quotation marks, man. Just in case they didn't catch that on the audio.
Anymore, bro.
Yeah, there's no
the same kind of grit that they used to, bro.
And I don't know if it's, as you said, a lack of a father figure.
Oh, definitely.
This
statistics that
in
can
their
prove
lives,
that's
but I think it might not just only be women, but again, back to this social media thing, and that's where the people are growing up and learning values from.
Yeah, that shit is so poison, bro. Like,
it's disgusting, bro. It's a lot of variety of factors, so I'll go with one that I know is very prominent in today's society. The male and female dynamic in terms of marriage, the institution of pretty much building up your values and your morality as a human being, that has dissipated, especially in Western culture in general. The stats will literally prove that the correlation, the more you see that the parents don't even live together, the more the child will just go in a whole different direction as it pertains to, I'd say, their success, their principles, their morality, etc. How do you measure morality and things of that nature and success? I guess it's subjective based on what study you're looking at. But for the most part, they do see that the rates of like depression and things like insecurity and mental stability going way down when you don't have two parents in the home, right? I also, and that's why, and I'm gonna stay away from that part of the conversation as it relates to people's sexuality and things of that nature. But you can definitely see a trending direction the more you see that women are in charge of, I would say, raising these men.
Social media, yeah, bro. I was legit saying that. Like, women have complete control of social media.
They do. The whole agenda, the whole feminist,
control,
the whole feminist, the whole empowering, the whole liberal agenda, right? That is what I believe liberal means, just progressive feminism. That's just how I literally view it. That's really what's raising these newer generation of boys to become men. And I've already found it within myself that I can spot out an emotional dude. And when I mean emotional, it's not emotional in the sense where you don't have feelings. I can literally spot out a male who acts like a female. And I find myself when I'm around dudes, like I can't be around dudes like that.
It's annoying, bro.
Yes. It's like you're dealing with another woman, bro.
It's annoying,
and
bro.
It's so funny because I have a story in a sense where I remember I was scrolling through my text messages like last year, 2 years ago. Scrolling through my text messages and I see 10 paragraphs from a number I don't have in my phone anymore. I was like, yo, what female, who was I going back and what female was I going back and forth with? I was like looking at this, I was like, yo, who is this chick? I read the conversation and I literally rolled my eyes. I'm like, oh, it's this dude, bro. I was like, yeah, this is why I couldn't be around this guy, bro. As a guy, when you texting me paragraphs, bro, I don't, bro, about just a conversation we can have face to face. If I want to go into details, this guy was going through a rough time in his life, and I was his friend. And for some reason, I was supposed to feel that he was going through trouble and
so you should have known.
I should have known. Like, tell me that's not a female.
That's definitely some female shit.
Female.
As men, we direct. We like, hey, I don't feel good right now.
Or you tell me like,
talk.
I'm going through.
But don't come at me like, oh, you see me depressed. No,
what are you, my wife, bro? I was like, yo, I literally said, what is he, my wife, bro?
Literally put the burden on you.
Yes, bro. I was like, what is he, my wife? I was like, I expect my female friends or my girlfriend to act this way. Literally, this is how I expect. It's fine, and even that's annoying of itself. But a grown man, get out of here, man. I was like, I'm not dealing with that, bro. And I guess in today's world, would say, oh, you see, that's that toxic masculinity. That's that. No, well, it's just things I choose not to deal with, bro.
It's simple things
I
that you
used to
can
have
say.
this girl I used to mess around with, bro, and she was like, it was ridiculous, bro, because she was like a tree hugger. She was a feminist, bro. Like she
tried to transform you.
She had a Subaru with like one of them coexist stickers on it, bro. Like she was that chick.
She used to
bro.
take hikes.
She does, yeah.
The hiker, I don't know about hikers, man.
Oh, that's your red flag.
I don't do hikes. I don't know.
Like she doesn't buy plastic toothbrushes. She buys
so she's a her.
But it was OD, bro. And I remember
she cares about the environment. Don't do that. Don't do that to her.
Bro, their personality. I get what you're saying, but I'm on your side. I get what you're saying. There's a personality associated with that.
Yeah, exactly. It comes attached with a personality. And I remember, like, she was just like, oh, you need to be more open. Like, you need to talk more. I'm like, no.
I say what's on my mind. I'm not doing anything
like,
else.
Why do I gotta be mad open to you? And the fact that she's like trying to force me to be more open. I don't want to be open to you.
You don't deserve that out of me yet either, too. Because you were talking. It's not like you were in a relationship.
Right.
So,
man, that's a good life.
Right. Like, I don't know. You have to give me a place where I feel welcome to be open.
Right, open.
And
so wait, Carl, go back to what you were saying. Well, you're going into more of the factors why you think women do have more.
Yeah.
hold.
So
okay.
So women having more of that impact and shaping and molding these men, I think it's very alarming, because that very definition of how they shape men, these single moms are raising these men, but still complain about these men. Do you know why? Because at the end of the day, they're not even men, right? Real men can. Even when I was in my phase of being single, I consider myself a real man, even though it wasn't, you know, I would say to my moral standard, it wasn't something I'm proud of. But you know why I said I was a man still? If I was messing with a girl, I would tell her straight up, this is what it is. With my lips, my mouth, this is what it is. I don't hide, like what I see these boys do, hide behind what it is, play games. No, a real man is like, this is what it is. This is what it is. This is what we are doing. Take it or leave it. And if you leave it, that's great. And I say,
I'll be good.
And I would even tell my boys, like, if she decides to leave today, I am not in my feelings, because I told her this is what it is. This is her choice to make, right? So when you're raising these boys and they think like, oh, men today, this and that, remember, y'all single moms, for the most part, statistically speaking, are raising these boys. So you're raising them how you want, and you still don't get the man that you're satisfied with. What does that really say? What that really says is, there's exceptions to this, but at the end of the day, my pops told me something so fast. At the end of the day, don't expect a woman to raise a man.
That's true.
It doesn't work that way.
That's facts.
And it's evident because on social media, on my feed, all the toxic masculinity, all the men are trash, this, that, and the third. Well, guess what? You raised them. What are you complaining about? You single women raised them. So as much as they want to diminish the modern male, they have just as much responsibility into it. And to make the other side culpable as well, men need to start being men.
And raising their kids.
And raising your kids.
Being there for their children, yeah, for sure.
You know,
stop doing dumb shit, stop going to jail.
Bro, like, it's a thing where...
Stop abandoning these women when they have their kids. Like,
but I didn't say you have to live with her.
Yeah, you still gotta be
But
that
you still
person.
gotta be that person to be a man. Support your son or your daughter. Raise them.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna turn out 18 years ago. You know what you did to us? You left this guy to be raised by a mom, and he learning all types of stuff from the streets, from social media, from his mom. He doesn't really have. He's literally still searching for that male figure,
yeah.
and he's seeing that male figure in his mom and on social media and from his boys and all these influences that may not be good, could be good, but probably for the most part not be good. And you're just raising a bunch of beta cucks, bro. And that's just what it is.
Bro, I'm never gonna hold you. I almost fell into that sunken place, bro.
Oh, I did too, bro.
I almost fell. Like, I remember, you don't remember that conversation we had about D-Wade's son, bro?
I was on the group chat, bro. I was preaching, bro, to the choir. Y'all were looking at me like I was tapped, bro. Like y'all meant, oh, I'm judging him. I was like, bro, no, bro. This is not the son, bro. I was like, this is D-Wade, bro. He's a beta, bro.
My logic behind it was, I knew maybe, but I guess I can't say my personal experience to everybody. I knew I liked women since I was like 6. I knew that for a fact. That was my logic behind it. But now that I see, like, you know, how D-Wade's more of a conservative,
liberal.
No. He's more closed off than Gabrielle Union, I guess. Mm-hmm. Like, Gabrielle Union has all her business out there. I can tell she kind of enforced her personality.
Yeah.
I definitely see what you're saying. Because, like I was saying, bro, I already said it. I was saying, bro, your kids at the end of the day, especially this is not a kid you have with this woman, bro. She has no say, bro. You gotta raise your son how you want to raise your son. You can tell her influence got on his youngest son, right? Yeah. Oh, well, I don't think that's his youngest son because I think he has another one out of wedlock. Well, with his first wife, no, he has another one out of wedlock.
He has a
with like a model or something like that.
He?
Yeah, he does because they were separated for a time and then he had another shorty in between. Okay. Yeah, but one of your youngest sons you can't tell me she didn't influence that because she's all free and all about that stuff. So now he's dressing like a shorty. Again, everybody live your life, do what you want. Not here to judge that. But you can't tell me she didn't have that influence. Like, and then I could tell, I was like, it's not only just her, but D-Wade has a lot to say about that because look, he painting his fingernails. He wearing like little dresses. He's doing this stuff, bro. He's free too, bro.
And that's another thing, bro. Women like that. Women they like that men being free shit on paper, bro. But ask a woman if she'll date a guy that was previously gay. They will not.
They will not, bro.
They'll say it, but they won't.
They won't.
They won't.
No,
they'll say it to look
I asked my
good.
sister that the other day. I was like, why? Why would you not date a guy that was gay before? And her
Because once
excuse,
you're gay, you're always gay.
her excuse was I was saying,
Only the blood of Jesus can save you.
I was saying, oh, is it because he feels demasculated? And her excuse was, no, it's because I don't know if he might have feelings for the previous guy.
You can say that for any.
And I was like, you can say that if for someone that just came out of a relationship,
Right.
So out of a heterosexual relationship. So I'm like that, like. You gotta throw that in the garbage.
Women are good with the narrative, bro.
It's not math, it's words.
They're very good at communicating.
But that's like what they came at Kevin Hart too when he made a joke in a comedy special about if he could
it was like
prevent his son from being gay, that's what he would because that's a fear for him.
And he said he would like smash the house on his
he knock
He's a clown.
No, that was definitely a wild statement, but he's a comedian.
He said this years ago, and they trashed him for that today, bro.
I mean, ultimately, that's a whole nother conversation.
We'll come back.
Yeah, we'll come back to that one day. But ultimately, it was D-Wade's principle. That's his principle of how he views masculinity. And that was instilled to his son, where he's wearing fingernails and doing this. And that's empowering. And honestly, to me, it's not what a real man is supposed to act, because I believe there are things for women, there will be things for men. It doesn't, to me, there's no such thing as it just goes both ways.
If his kid felt that way and maybe he didn't 100% agree with it, he should not show any support, because that's I want to understand, because I don't want people to think that we're just bashing.
No, that's a good question.
You get what I'm saying? Because if at the end of the day, if my son, God forbid, I mean, I don't want to say God forbid, but if he was homosexual, I might not like it, but that's still my son. At the end of the day, I still have to be his dad. I gotta support. I don't have to agree with what decisions he's making. I'm gonna shape him in what I think is a man or what I expected him to be. But you can't have those expectations. So I have to still support what he's doing.
Yeah.
Or how he is in a sense.
And the thing with me is that I agree. I just don't want to be shamed into wanting something for my son that was instilled for me from generation to generation. And I know we don't have time to go into the many mental gymnastics. People like to twist on that line of logic. But if my son is straight and I raise my son to be straight, that's my business. If your son is gay and you support your son being gay, that's your business. If I raise my kid to be straight and he somehow turns out to be gay, that's my son at the end of the day.
Right.
The political correct answer is, of course, as hard as it's going to be for me to support my son, I'm not going to front. As hard as it's going to be to support my son, I love my son. So at the end of the day, I'm going to do what's best for my son or my daughter.
But we're not gonna like push that.
But I'm not going to push that agenda into their head. Like, this is what like they're trying to do in the schools and in our media. No, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to raise my kid the way my pops raised me. And if you think that's toxic or you don't like it, well, tough. At the end of the day, I'm rapping ass. I'm paying the bills. I'm doing this. You don't get to say how I raise my kid. No one gets to say.
That's right.
So that's that. And that's how I view that. But it's not to condemn nobody who lives their lives the way they live their life. At the end of the day, people can live how they want. You can raise children or you can raise anyone how you want. That's your business. What you do with your life is your business. But with me and mine, that's my business. And that's that. And that's how a true alpha male approaches life.
And in reality, when you do come out like and say, this is how I'm gonna raise my son in this particular manner, in a way that's not, normal. you have to realize like you're gonna get scrutinized. That's just the reality of it.
Both sides of it, any side of it, any side of it. So I'd rather get scrutinized for what I really believe in versus what you guys believe in.
I don't care what social media.
Exactly, I don't care what social media say. And to tie up, I think I can answer. I mean, I wrote some notes down, obviously, but I think we all agree that we agree with traditional masculinity.
Of course,
we are firm believers in traditional masculinity. Sure. I would love to have a group of females to come and talk about this very subject here, because I'm curious about how they view masculinity, and how do they feel even about modern day femininity? Is that something that they are more, geared towards, or is it something that they shy away a little bit, or maybe a little bit of both?
Real quick, I learned like not too long ago that a lot of women, I'm not gonna say all, a lot of women have this kind of rape fantasy. Like this over dominant, like
no, let you explain.
What?
They're not gonna label it as rape because they're gonna be too emotionally.
But they want like a dominant male.
They want like an overly dominant male.
Yeah. And I get what you're saying. No. I heard would interpret it as, oh, how could you say it? But I get exactly what you're saying.
And that should tell you they want to be submissive. By nature, they want to be submissive.
We talked about that, but yeah, I agree. Right.
But that's all right, fellas. It was nice having you here, Harley. Definitely gonna have you come on again.
This was fun.
It was a good conversation. This is H, the gut adjuster. We're gonna have this guy on definitely a couple more times in the future. This is the JP Call Podcast. Please subscribe, share. We'll have links up on Instagram very soon. We're just building this from the ground up. YouTube.
I'm not even subscribed.
Definitely subscribe.
This guy, man. He's coming talking on my podcast,
But we don't man addresses things. But this is the JP Call Podcast. We enjoyed having you guys, and it's a wrap.
Yeah. She wants to spend some money with me, why? She fucking with me, why? She smoking on my weed, but I love it when she high. She telling me she love me and her nigga wants to fight me. She calling me